Yes, Vijetha. Done. Yeah. Yeah. All good. All good. Yes. Chalo. Let's rock it. Yep. Cheers. Bye. What's up?
Anmol, my friend.
Nice to see you, my friend.
Awesome.
Great. Looking forward.
Yes, yes. So I don't have this deadly looking weapon that you have in front of you. Whatever that is. I go to take some advice from you on how to set this up. I'm also supposed to set this up for myself.
Sure,
But
man.
now, yeah, but I will talk about that later. But all
Sure.
good, all comfortable, Anmol?
All good, sir.
Busy day.
Busy
You
day.
have
Yeah,
the-
it's been a
yeah.
busy day, but yes,
Okay.
liking it, loving it.
Done. So I'll just let him know that we have logged in.
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So Anmol, how's your day looking for you? All good.
All good, yeah. All set.
Great.
Raring to go.
As always, man. I've never seen you not raring to go.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, great.
Great.
So what I will do is let's start off. I'm just waiting for
Sure.
5. It's 5:30 sharp, and I
Right.
think we have Akhil also there. Hi, Akhil. We are good to go. And good evening, everyone. This is Vijetha Shastry here, and warm welcome to everyone. And Anmol, this is episode 27, by the way, of League of Extraordinary Startups, where we bring in rockstar people, founders, entrepreneurs, just to talk about their journey. And let me say this, man, you have been considered as a sales guru. Now, how did that happen, my friend? Okay, let's start with that. Okay, I'm not going by whatever script I thought we had. I don't know, but I just
Sure.
decided to change the script. So let's talk about sales guru. How did it
Sure.
happen?
Sure. But before that, thank you so much for the invite, Vijetha. Really appreciate it. Always happy to share screen with you. It would have been sharing the stage, but yeah, now it's sharing screen
I know.
with you. Yeah. So I think the title sales guru, it's more of a title than anything else, right? It doesn't mean so much. I think
Okay.
what's really important is how do you look at sales? I think that's the key here. Is it something that you're trying to pressurize your customer into buying, or is it something where you are trying to understand the need of the customer? You're trying to see how your product or service fits in with their requirement, right? So I think sales guru is a very glamorous word. But I think that's something what I'm very passionate about is the way I have looked at sales over the last several years. My fundamental approach to it keeps changing. It should be changing. I mean, what I thought of it probably 7-8 years back to what it is now, I think there's been a big transformation in the way I personally look at sales.
Awesome. That's very, very interesting. So Anmol, you wear one cap, which is of a founder. You have your own organization, 5X Sales, and you're trying to grow. I know that you do a lot of work with SMBs. I know that
Right.
today's also been a super busy day, lots of calls. You're, focused on helping organizations to grow, make money, build their sales teams. But how did it start? I mean, what is your career journey been, and what has been happening with you as a startup founder the last few years?
Sure. So I've had a very unique career. I'm an engineer.
Okay.
Right.
No
Not so
comment. No
unique
comment.
after all.
Absolutely no comment.
Not so unique after all. And of course, I just did engineering because, I mean, my sister was in a good college. My dad's like, this is what you're going to do. But then I realized very soon that this is not my cup of tea. Though I loved computer science, coding, programming. At one point of time, that used to be something that kept me awake out of passion. I was with IBM, a hardcore R&D software engineer. But yeah, at some point it got to me like, excitement nahi hai, you should probably do something else, right? So good job, right. The office was right next door.
Okay.
And IBM, there's always the work from home policy, so
Work from
that's
home
not new
policy,
for us. It's so this whole corona work from home is not new for at least IBMers. I'm not sure if I can say it publicly, but we guys have exploited it long back as well. Good company, great project, but somewhere that was not my calling. So I left that. Had about 3 startups. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I don't call myself serial entrepreneur, but serial entrepreneur with those failures at least.
That's a learning, man. That's a learning.
That's a learning. I call it my MBA, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's my MBA. I wrote CAT twice. I got about 99 percentile both times. Both times got rejected. Only once I got a call from IIM, though rejected there also. I'm like, theek hai, chalo, let's just.
So you're absolutely. I mean, see, you're a great entrepreneur. You've been rejected so many times. You've failed so many times, dude. So it's okay, right? It's all good.
Absolutely loving it. Just loving it. I think the whole definition of failure, rejection, it just turned completely upside down, right? For me right now, failure or rejection is, hey, what went wrong? Look at it very objectively. No need to attach that emotional baggage. Oh my god, I failed. What will people tell about me? Blah blah, all that. Keeping that baggage aside, seeing what probably went wrong and correcting it. I think that is very crucial. So in this 3 years, in my 3 startups across 5 years, I realized that, look, I made a lot of mistakes, right? And I saw that the biggest challenge in the marketplace is sales knowledge, right? A lot of entrepreneurs have great products, services, great ideas, but do they really know what it takes to sell it in the marketplace? And with all the 3 startups, I was always on the sales side, while I had partners who were running the tech, who were running the ops and everything else.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I think if you ask me, I was an engineer. How did I move to sales? I think my calling is also connecting with people.
Okay.
I love being with people, and I think a lot of that is, I think the sales part comes from there, right? I think I'm very comfortable with people. I love listening to their stories, their backgrounds, where they come from. And I think that makes it very easy to sell. It doesn't have to be I'm pushing my product down. If I connect with you, Vijetha, at a very different level, if I connect with you at a very humane level, I think sales will happen. It's a byproduct.
Yeah. It's a relationship, goodwill, and trust. I'm sure.
Absolutely. So how fast can I build that trust? Very important point that you've brought up, trust, right? I think the bedrock of any transaction is trust. Now, how fast can I build it? How can I build rapport with you without sounding cheesy, without probably applying a closing technique? So I saw that a lot of people are struggling with this in my startup journey, right? So that's when I said, hey, look, let me not make all the mistakes that I did with my previous startup. Okay. And I see this space. I've seen entrepreneurs who are like, hey, I would love to undergo some kind of training, or some kind of consulting sessions which can help me go to the next level. And like, look, yeah, I studied the space, which I didn't do in my previous startup. Next $1 billion company is here, right? I mean, you think of an idea and then you're trying to work it out.
So Anmol, I'll ask you one specific question, right? So one is, you said you have studied. Number two is that you study this space. You do a lot of research work. Number
Right.
two, you are very clearly saying that you have it in you. You like people. You
Right.
like to communicate. You like to talk. Okay, but there's one thing, right? Today it's very tough to get customers.
Right.
Okay, however good you are, however good and all these experiences that you have. T- At the League of Extraordinary Startups, one thing that we want to also ask is what are the challenges and failures that you faced in your current organization, which you
Sure.
managed to come out of? Because you, I
Sure.
mean, you're giving, I know you're building that towards that, but just focus on that. And all the founders out here, they should not give up hope. But at the same time, if they do things wrongly, things don't change.
Right.
So, what's the self awareness as a founder that you have in you?
Sure. I think it's an interesting question. What are the sales challenges that I've had with the sales training company? So
Exactly, exactly.
I think that's the best question so far that I've heard about Sales5X. Let me throw some light on it. So we are
Okay.
not into corporate training, right? So we don't
Yeah.
work with the, let's say the big four or the
Mm-hmm.
IBMs of the world, right? I think that
Correct.
was a conscious call. We want to work with small and medium businesses. Of
Okay.
course, startups
Okay.
are a part of it, but the idea is small and medium businesses, people having a team size of 3 or 4 people, who've just trying to scale their sales or just trying to figure out how to even
All
probably
right.
get
All right.
their
Okay.
first 5 customers. So the biggest challenge is, number one, they don't really believe in training,
Mm.
right? Let's say I have a team of 5 people, 10 people. I don't think something that wakes me up and like, hey, I need to train my sales force, right? That's a well established practice with corporates,
Mm.
right? Where they have a separate L&D department. It's a
Yeah.
function of
Yeah.
its own. They've got a budget
Mm.
to it. So that's the second
Mm.
challenge, right?
Mm.
Am I going to pay for that training?
Money.
Yeah. End of the day, it's money, baby. Right. So two big challenges. If you look at the space that we are in, do I really need training? Will someone who comes on a Friday evening gives a motivational talk? That's what most people think training is. That they will, he will say something and go. Will it translate into my top line? How much will it translate? And is it really worth this whole thing? So it's a big mindset shift, and there's a lot of convincing needed, so to speak. So these were the two biggest challenges, and I will admit it's not easy. There's a lot of education needed. So I need to educate my prospect first. They're not ready prospects, right? It's not like I get calls for sales training that often. There's always the sales problem. So I think this is a takeaway for all the audience. Is your customer in a problem phase, or is he or she in a solution phase? What do I mean by that? Someone calls me, hey Anmol, I'm looking for sales training. How much do you charge? Let's say that's a question. So he's already in a solution phase. He knows that the solution is sales training. But if the customer says, hey Anmol, I'm completely confused about how I go about my sales, so he's stuck in the problem sales. So first I need to show him that, look, sales training or sales consulting is a solution,
Mm.
right? So it's very important for you to know where your prospect is in this whole buying process. So if he's very much in the problem stage, then you got to invest a lot more time, energy into first getting him educated about how training can help. So
Mm.
I think these are
Okay.
the biggest challenges that
Interesting.
I've
Very
faced.
interesting. Okay. So I was just going through your notes, right?
Yeah.
So who, just the same way that you are training these folks, who trains you? How do you get your knowledge?
Sure. I strongly believe in the concept of having mentors.
Okay.
There's this gentleman called Brijesh Singh. He is a professor at PSIT. He teaches management. He's my mentor.
Okay. Okay.
I literally love this guy, man. Like this a friend of mine as well. He's mentor to both of us. So we drive all the way to Bannerghatta. This was pre-COVID. I would like, Sarji, aap shuru ho jao. I mean, I don't need to give him a topic. It's like it was like my MBA classrooms Sunday evenings, right? Or we used to sit by the pool 8 p.m. and before long it's 1 a.m. already. 5 hours and without
Wow.
seeing the watch. Without seeing the
Wow.
watch, it's very difficult to me. I have an attention deficit disorder. Matlab, watch dekhna hi hai. And this guy would talk about stuff, and I've learned so much from him. So I always say I learned the ABCs of entrepreneurship from him, and I think it's very important. Each one of us has a mentor, a guide, someone who's telling us what not to do,
Okay.
so that life is too short to
Interesting.
make your own
Of course, Anmol.
mistakes.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant. So, Anmol, see now one of the things that is very important for anyone, with you or for a founder, even for me at TiE Bangalore, we are about membership. We have to work with partners. We have to do a lot of sessions around mentoring and coaching and pitch deck preparations and investor connects, knowledge sessions, whatever. So I know that today also sales has to happen remotely. See, today we are actually sitting, buddy, on Vidphone. Otherwise, every time that you and I have met, we have met in all these, various forums, and you're on stage, and we're all laughing and clapping our hands because of the stand-up comedy stuff that you do, etc., etc. But now remote selling, remote training,
Right.
remote everything is remote, and for at least maybe for some more time.
Right.
What is the difference? How do you prepare yourself and your teams and your toolkits, whatever? If you were a founder, not just for yourself, but supposing you were
Right.
to advise some, what are some 3 or 4 takeaways that you can give us?
Sure. I think it's a very interesting proposition. The way, so we're calling it digital sales right now. So I think business travel is dead. Those days when you would go to Hyderabad for a quick 20-minute meeting and you would spend your entire day doing so, I think those days are over. So there are a lot of advantages to it as well, which is that now it's accepted mode of selling, right? So if I were to pitch to you something, Vijetha, I would typically say on call, hey Vijetha, why don't I show you a demo and can we have a Zoom call? Right? So a Zoom call is not something which is out of the dictionary. I think it's soon going to make its way into popular lexicon, into the Oxford dictionary as well. So the bottom line being, the fundamentals of sales will always remain the same. The medium keeps changing.
Okay.
Right. So earlier it was, let's say, field sales. Then it was probably telephonic sales, but now we're doing this something called a Zoom sales, right? So the medium will keep changing. You never know. Tomorrow there may be something else, right? Tomorrow we're talking about AI sales. Someone
Anmol,
who's probably
we are on Vidphone. We are on Vidphone, by the way.
Yeah. Vidphone. Yeah. So Vidphone is the way to go. I mean, that's what's going to be the next big sales platform, right? So. Perfect. Thanks for bringing that up. So the medium keeps changing. The medium keeps changing, but the fundamentals remain the same, right? The challenge is how fast can you adapt to that, right? So if you're saying, hey, I'm a typically a person who loves meeting people face to face, eye to eye, belly to belly. I find this online thing, a big fast. I am not able to, I'm not very comfortable. I think you are lagging behind. So that's one of the challenge, which is how fast can you adapt to it? Right, it's difficult to build rapport online. Yep, let's accept that, because an offline meeting has a very different vibe to it vis-a-vis something online. So that's one challenge. Second is, of course, the infrastructure issues. Not everyone has a good connection. Today morning I was on Air Meet, another platform, and the connection bombed. So all these are part of the thing. So you got to make sure the infrastructure is up and running to make sure there's no disruption. So it needs to become a very smooth experience for your prospect. So number one, infrastructure, make it smooth for your prospect. Number two, don't wait for it. Just get comfortable with the new medium.
You're right. So it's agreed. But but I want to say this one thing. You are talking about being prepared, Anmol. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what if you are also, if you're not bothered to make sure that you're look at you right now. Okay. You're in a proper setting. You have a great mic. You have your background. You're formally dressed, etc., etc. Whatever it is. Me, of course, I'm wearing this T-shirt because it's TiE Bangalore, whatever it is. But at least you're prepared. I have a headphone on, so you have to invest in preparation.
Absolutely.
And maybe it breaks my heart sometimes, Anmol, that people don't do that, because if they say this, right, you're playing a 90-minute football game or you're running a 10-second 100-meter dash, but the hours and hours of hard work, research work, preparation in the right way. So how do you go about this? So just imagine, I know you have a meeting today at X time, you have to go somewhere, and it's playing at the back of your mind even as you're talking to me, but you're prepared, or you're going to prepare. So how do you prepare? What is the mindset? What is what is a muscle that you build to be, kick-ass all the time?
I think you've brought up a very interesting point, Vijetha. Preparation is key, right? I would say don't pitch if you're not prepared.
Okay.
Right. You've got to be prepared even for this 1 hour session.
I know.
I should tell my viewers, Vijetha and his entire team at Vidphone. I mean, you guys we've had multiple back and forth communication. We've done a test session half an hour back. I think this was a perfect example of making sure you're prepared. The meeting started right on time. We're going as per the flow. Imagine if this was just last minute, right? And we are just like, hey, Anmol, just come in and let's see. Jo bhi banta hai, wo dekhenge. Right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So it won't work. So if you're thinking sales, like, hey, I know the product back of my mind, I'll just go and pitch. No. Recipe for disaster. right?
Okay.
There is a lot of preparation, the flow. You've got to go in with the mindset of what are questions are you going to ask, qualifying questions, redundant questions, need-based questions,
Mm.
move to your pitch. In the pitch, there is specific flow. So it's a lot of science behind creating your sales pitch. It's not something that, I can, for instance, I may be the world's greatest salesperson, but if you ask me to sell Vidphone right now, I might not be able to, because I don't know the entire product in detail. I don't know the competition. I don't know the the pricing landscape. I don't know what is the exact USP. So there are a lot of challenges, and I need to first master this, right? And if I don't get it right, there is no point pitching.
Okay.
So preparation is key. If you're not prepared, guys, I suggest don't pitch.
Okay. Interesting. So, I want to ask you one more question. Okay.
Sure.
You have failed in some of your recent sales pitches, I'm sure. For
Sorry,
whatever reason.
I lost you there.
You might have failed in some of your recent last few months, whatever, however well prepared you were. How do you do two things I want to ask you?
Sure.
Number one, how do you handle rejection at that point of time? Let's be positive on this at that point of time. And then how did you reassess? Maybe you did a kind of research, inner research work. Okay, I could have done this better. Maybe they were not ready. I was not ready. Then you went back. So how does that cycle work?
Right. Firstly, I think with rejection, you need to ask yourself, how objective can you be? Something that we were talking about earlier as well, right? It's when a customer says no, they're not typically saying no to you. It's no because of some circumstances, right? Maybe they don't have the budget. Maybe this is not the right time to pitch. Maybe your pitch wasn't good, right? So I think it's very important for people to take rejection very objectively. I'm someone who always believes that whatever is happening for the good. When you look in retrospect, the dots do connect. Having said that, I think after every pitch I make, I go back and analyze whether that pitch converted the customer into a yes. If yes, what worked, that got him to say yes. If it didn't work, where did I go wrong?
Okay.
Right? I think it's very important to do that analysis. So you become a good salesperson not while you're selling, but the space between your two pitches.
Okay.
Right. That's the critical part. It's that space where you analyze where you went wrong, and then you make sure you incorporate that whatever feedback that you've got by yourself or by someone else into the next pitch. So so I think most salespeople, entrepreneurs who are selling, they're just living it sales to sale. Okay, this pitch, I have to do this pitch. No, you got to do a lot of analysis back end. Right. In fact, I tell a lot of entrepreneurs to record their pitch. Okay. There's wealth of information out there. Just record, if possible, video record. I know it's difficult, but the worst case, at least audio recording.
Yeah.
Right. You will exactly know where you went wrong. Okay, I pitched too soon. That's a problem. Or I didn't really understand the customer's objections, or there were some hidden objections which I never got the customer to bring it out, or I closed too fast, or I closed too late. Okay, the best part is you don't need an expert necessarily to do the analysis. Of course, if you give it to me, I can analyze it in 1/10 the time you would take. But if you just do that part, you yourself will know, hey, this is what is going wrong. You know what?
Okay.
10 minutes, I spoke for 8 minutes.
Okay.
Let the customer talk. It's impossible that for 10 minutes pitch, if you speak for 8 minutes, you would close it. I think it's very difficult unless you know the person well.
Okay.
Right. So that itself tells you need to shut up, get the person to speak. They will tell you what is the real challenge, and then you kind of match that.
So what you're saying is that many times it's research work, preparation, giving the customer a chance and opportunity to be more vocal. Like if you have 10 minutes, you try to make it a 60-40 or even 50-50, and give more time to them so you can understand their needs much better. Isn't it? That's
absolutely the typical 80-20 rule. 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time the customer is talking.
Okay. But too many times as salespeople, it goes the other way around. You want to just pitch, and then it becomes a problem.
Right. As they say that a good salesperson practices what he has to say, but a great salesperson practices what he has to ask.
Okay, beautiful.
Right. I think that itself explains pretty much.
I know. So the sales is also about the art of questioning, getting the right information and input, and building that trust and goodwill and relationship. Isn't it, Anmol? That's so important in today's world.
Right. So there are two parts to it. One, of course, is relationship selling, which used to work all this while, which
but
still
not
does.
now. Yeah,
But
now.
it's not enough today. It's just
Yeah.
not enough today. Let's say, Vijetha, I need to sell you my sales training service. Okay. Or let's say, this is a nice car which is just on my table. So I just thought, pick it up. So
Okay.
let's say I need to sell this car to
Yeah.
you. Okay. You come.
Okay.
Let's say I'm the sales executive at this Mercedes showroom. Okay. You come and I'm very nice to you. Hey Vijetha, I make you feel welcome. I make your family feel welcome. Let's say you've got kids. I make them comfortable in the play area, offer you juice. So of course I'm building that relationship and you think I'm a fairly nice guy. But is it enough for you to buy this? Vis-a-vis, you're looking at other brands like Audi and BMW. Is it enough? No. Right? So relationship building, extremely crucial. What's more important is, am I positioning myself as an expert? Right? Am I giving you insights versus information? So information is, this car has 420 liters boot capacity, it has let's say a 4-liter engine and all that. All this information is something you already know, you can always Google it up. But am I giving you insights? Right? When I say insight, so Vijetha, what kind of a person are you? Are you someone who's into adventure, or are you someone who prefers luxury over adventure? So if I know you as a person, I'm like, look, if you are looking for comfort and safety being the primary thing, right? That's what Ben stands for. We first keep safety first and then everything around it. Right? And it's easy for me to then say, look, Audi stands for performance, or maybe a BMW stands for something else, right? So I need to be an expert and give you insights.
Okay. Interesting.
Right? So it's relationship building. I'm not saying that relationship building is not enough. It's the start, but it's not going to convert the sale necessarily. You need to position yourself as the expert. I need to give you insights which you can't find on Google. I need to give you insights where you wouldn't have thought of, like, hey, this guy knows his stuff. How long is it going to take for you to come to that conclusion? Hey, I went to this car showroom, man, this guy is an expert. He knows everything about cars, how they work, users choices and everything. So if I position myself as an expert in that area, you'll buy from me.
Awesome. So this also means that you have to know your customer well. You have to do a lot of research work. You have to understand them, their psychology, about the influencers, decision makers around them, their product, their customers also. So it's a lot of hard work, isn't it? 90% of the time is preparation, research work. Amazing, isn't it? No choice.
Yeah, again, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of the entire sales pitch is repeatable. There's no logic, there's no creativity needed. 80% is the research, the hard work that you do, figuring out everything. Just that 20% is the creative part. When you say something unexpected, how do I answer that?
Okay.
Right. So it all goes back to, as you said, B2B sales. You're talking typically a lot of stakeholders, the CFO, who's got the budget, the end user, the technical user, the CEO, probably who's the final decision maker. So different stakeholders. Are you doing that hard work of mapping the hierarchy of the organization, understanding their buying process, right? Your selling process is very different from their buying process.
Yeah.
Right. Are you spending time investigating their buying process, understand how it works for them? And then aligning these two processes, right?
Awesome.
So it is not just me just pitching to you, Vijetha, because then when you disappear and you don't take my calls, I'm wondering, why is he not doing it? That's because I've not done the remaining part, right? I've not figured out how it really works.
I know. And it's the other way around also, right, Jagat? I know. I was telling this to Jagat some time back. Okay, today, Anmol, you are selling. And then tomorrow, there are other people also trying to sell to you.
Right.
And and then you also say, okay, man, I don't want to take this call. This person is whatever, Why doesn't they understand that I'm not interested? It's a crazy situation that you're in.
We do that every day. Like, when was the last time you disconnected a telecaller's call? I did it about 1 hour back. So it's happening every day. So how are you differentiating yourself? How are you being different?
Correct. Interesting. So now it is 25 minutes into the conversation.
Sure.
And we slightly switch tracks now. Okay.
Sure.
So to summarize, you also spoke the sales, the preparation, the 80-20 rule, insights versus information. You've given some beautiful, insights to the founders. Thank you so much for that, Anmol. That's very kind of you. Now let's talk about innovation. Right. What you were, say, 6 months back or 1 year back or 2 years back, and what is the plans that you guys are making for the next 3 months or 6 months? Okay, in terms of a product, in terms of ability to scale. So how are those things panning out for you, and some talks around that?
Sure. So me and my co-founder had like an honest one-on-one last year around the same time, and we decided we want to train only online.
Okay. Oh, okay.
This was much before the pandemic, so like we actually like, wow, this is brilliant. We didn't want it to be this way, honestly.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
not the way we wanted to. We took a conscious call. I think we sat ourselves down and we are like, hey, how is training going to be 7-8 years down the line?
Okay.
Okay, and we said, look, I don't think people are going to come physically travel, right, for a session for 2 hours. Okay, I don't think that's going to happen. That's when he said, look, let's go online. Then they're like, hey, but what about the clients who want offline training? We're like, we will convert them into online training. Okay, yes, there are power outages, there are a lot of challenges. Okay, but can we create a system where we are able to convince clients to move online? We took that call, and we've right from September, November last year, we've been training online. And when March, when the lockdown came upon us, as I said, I mean, it's a very sad story, but then our traction jumped, right? We had a lot more people coming in. We were doing a lot of ads, lot of traction. And I think that's because we moved online really quick. So I won't call it innovation per se. Of course, innovation is a lot more bigger than that. But I think we were very happy with the calls that we've taken. And I think that's very important for salespeople as well. How are things going to evolve in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? And if you can ask us this question once every month, okay, I think over a period of time, you will get that knack of understanding of, so to speak, predicting what's going to happen next. I'm not able to hear you, Vijetha. Vijetha, I'm so sorry. I'm not able to hear you. I'm just checking if it's just me. Okay, I think Vijetha has dropped out. I still have my audience with me.
Okay, hang on. Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yes, you're audible, Vijetha.
I'm on a power outage right now.
Sure. It's all part of the process.
Yeah, it's all part of the process, and I'll fix it in the next 30 seconds. I want to ask you one more specific question.
Yeah.
What are the blogs, resources, and books that you read to upgrade yourself all the time?
Sure. Starting with blogs, there's something called a Sales Hacker. I think they've got a amazing resource of material out there. So saleshacker.com. Probably I just go once a day and then have a look at all the stuff out there. Very, very informative. They keep you updated with all the latest trends in sales. So that's an interesting blog. I have pretty much bought all the sales courses, be it Grant Cardone or Jordan Belfort or Dan Locke. A lot of people will say these guys are good, not good, but then I think there's something to learn from each one of them. Udemy have brought out pretty much all the sales courses. So I think what's very important is for you to go and explore, be part of these training sessions, so that there's always something to learn, right? However bad you are, as a speaker, there's always something that you can add to the audience. I fundamentally believe in that. So that's one. Books, when it comes to books, last year I read about 33 books in the last 1 year. So I'm big on reading. I typically, have the audio book format because it's easy to read. I mean, listen rather, in the entire week. So some of the books that are good, Positioning, Jack Trout and Al Ries, very interesting book. There's a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini. There's a book, Blue Ocean Strategy. So these are some of the books I think they really change the way you look at sales. When it comes to marketing, there's Seth Godin. Any book by Seth Godin is brilliant. So I would suggest one book a week if you can do it. If not, at least twice a month, 2 books a month, right? And for sales, when it comes to sales, you can also, I recently read the book called The Sales Differentiator. Very, very nice book. It talks about how do you differentiate in a crowded marketplace, something that Vijetha was asking me earlier. It's called The Sales Differentiator. One of the sales classic books is always Neil Rackham's Spin Selling, which is largely for B2B sales, right? I think it's still gold. Whatever he said in the last century still applies. So, yep, these are some of the books. And I'll tell you one interesting thing about books, why I love to read books. It's because the author would typically spend at least 5-7 years of his life on that subject, right? So, hey, you're actually using 5-7 years of someone else into about 7 to 8 hours. Imagine the learning. right? So for just 400, $500, I mean, that's a big hack. What more do you need?
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for that. Very interesting. So, Anmol, now let's come to your other hat that you wear. Okay, so you know
Sure.
what I'm talking about, right? Your the actually flourishing career of stand-up comedy. All right. So how did that happen, and when, like, how do you manage the balance? Don't say 80-20, okay? Then don't give me that 80-20 story.
Vijay, I really love your sense of humor. You should probably join me in some of the
I will.
performances.
One day we must.
Sure. So I had participated in a stand-up contest about 6 years back. I actually won it, but I never took it seriously. Okay. I was like, okay. I mean, people are also drunk, so I thought they were just laughing for no reason. So what happened about 2 years back? I was part of a digital marketing club, and I don't know, something just came about and like, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we could have stand-up on digital marketing? So it's like, hey, that sounds like a good idea. And then obviously I had a lot of content because I've been into digital marketing, for quite some time now. So I prepared a set, and I performed there, and these guys loved it. And like, wow, this is so awesome. This is very different from your regular stuff. So I'm like, hey, people liked it. So I did another set, and then people are like, hey, this is amazing. You should do more of it. And yeah, I think after that, I didn't look behind, and yep,
Good.
loving every bit of it.
Awesome, buddy. Awesome. So how does that help you with what you're doing as a sales trainer, as a coach, and everything? Do you think there are some ways that you're alternate totally two different careers, but there's some synergy?
There is 100% synergy. I wouldn't consider it two different career aspects. I'll tell you why. One, of course, is your top of the sales funnel, right? How are you building awareness for yourself, for your company, right? So when people see my stand up, they try to Google up, find out more about me. Then Sales5X comes up. So in fact, the last 4 clients that we've had is all because of stand up. So they saw my video first, then reached out to me, and like, it's a differentiator for me as well, right? There are a lot of sales trainers, again, really good sales trainers in the market, but just when that stand up part comes, they assume that this guy is different, he can jazz up the sessions. So there's that edge. So the top of the funnel is built because of comedy, and then I monetize it with training. So that's how the model has laid out of late. So on top is the comedy, and when the funnel narrows, it's the training. That's the monetization.
Was all the okay? I don't just imagine. All the you mentioned so many names. Grant Cardone and all these guys. Suddenly they say, "Oh, that's the hack. Let's become stand-up comedians." But man, you're going to be in trouble after that. Be careful.
Yeah, that's our growth hack. It's worked well for us. It's worked well for us.
No,
And I think there's a lot of parallel between comedy and sales. Number one, in both cases, you are addressing strangers,
okay.
right? In both cases, I need to build rapport very fast, 15-30 seconds. People are judging me,
Okay. Okay.
right? In both cases, I am selling something. Of course, when you're actually doing sales, it's for an exchange of money, but here it's exchange of laughter, right? So the fundamentals remain the same, right? In both cases, you need to build likability, right? Let's say as a comic, I have great jokes, but hey, people don't like my presence, they're not going to laugh. I have a great product, but hey, people don't like my presence here right now, they're not going to buy.
Okay, interesting. All
right? In stand-up, I need to get my audience to think in a certain way. I have my content and I'm making them think in a certain way, the way I want them to think, so that they laugh.
Okay.
Sales, I'm making you think in a certain way so that you buy my product.
Awesome.
Right?
So, very interesting. So this is your engineering hat also, buddy. I'm just thinking about this, right? The process, the design, I mean, you got that elements going on. And also you're very self-aware, right, Anmol? You're saying that, okay, I've got to make this person trust me, like me, and only then will they want to spend time with me. Like if they want me to listen to my stand-up comedy, or do you want them to, I mean, how does your sessions last? When you're doing a training session, is it 1 hour, 1.5? I mean, typical, I'm just saying it. I'm sure it change all the time, but
Sure.
typical session?
We typically do 2.5 hours in
2.5
one
hours.
shot.
Wow.
Yeah. All online.
That's a long time, isn't it? 2.5 hours
Yes.
to keep people's attention, and they're paying you to listen to you for 2.5 hours.
No, I'll make a difference. Not listen to me. So they again 80-20.
Learn.
I don't talk that much. I will talk only
Ah,
20 minutes.
okay, interesting. Okay, and you make role plays and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that. So what we do is role plays. I think there's no point me blabbering for 2.5 hours. Sab upar chala jayega. People are gonna zone out, right? But hey, what if I were to, let's say there's Jagat and there is Vijetha, and I get Vijetha. Let's say you are into some kind of SaaS product. I get you to pitch to Jagat. Okay, and everyone's hearing that pitch.
All right.
And then we do like a post-mortem.
Okay.
Hey, this is what went well.
Okay.
Hey Vijetha, I think you should have said this. So that works. And then I get you to do it again with another person, not making the same mistakes.
Okay. So you perfect your art. You get better and better, and practice. But practicing the right things is what makes you better.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So now we are on 6:07. Okay. So I'm just keeping a watch on the time all the time. Because
Sure.
on the time all the time. See, I'm becoming a professional also. Okay. So Anmol, so let's now talk about you as a person, right? As a founder, there are dark moments, there are tough times, whatever. Emotionally, irrespective of how much money you have in the bank or you don't have in the bank, okay, whichever way. I mean, I'm not going to ask. Do not crack those entrepreneur jokes. Please promise me that, because
done. That's a separate session.
That's a separate session, isn't it? I mean, but
yeah,
I'm laughing thinking of those punchlines of yours, but there are some tough times emotionally.
Yeah.
As a founder, now very specifically, I'm saying as a founder, when you went through those times, what did you do to pull yourself out of the funk, right? I mean,
sure.
How does it work?
Yeah, I think it's a lot based on your personality type also, and I'm generally like a happy person. I think it's also because I'm not married, so.
You promised something.
okay. Sorry, I don't know. My nature. It kind of goes down there. Okay. Coming to the serious part of it, I think you've got to work a lot on yourself. So I do a lot of meditation. I work out pretty much every day. I do a lot of gratitude meditation. So I think every day at least 2 hours, I work on myself. And when I wake up, I don't get up and I don't check WhatsApp for the first 45 minutes, 1 hour. I'm in a zone where there's a lot of meditation. There's a lot of understanding me as a person, my goals, and why am I doing this. And again, the same exercise before I sleep. And I think that kind of strengthens you. We've been talking about mental health of late, entrepreneurs, getting into depression. I think they need to go back inside and work at that space. Okay, there's a missing link there. You and I know, being entrepreneurs, we're always in a soup, so to speak. There are always challenges. They will never go away. Corona is just another challenge. It's not like things are going to be amazing once the vaccine is out. No, you're going to have challenges. So I think every entrepreneur should work on themselves. Instead of just working on their business.
All right. I wanted to talk a little bit more about this gratitude meditation, if you don't mind, please, Anmol.
Sure.
What does it mean? And how do you do it?
So I'm deep into it in the sense, in the simplest word, it's being happy for what you have. Of course, you want to buy a Benz, okay? But are you happy with your current car? Is that like, hey, yaar, uske paas ye hai, uske paas ye hai. So I think we're always living in a state of lack, always wanting things. But hey, remember, there were migrants who walked thousands of kilometers to go home, right? You've got a roof on your head, you've got good clothes, you've got a laptop, you've got a mic, right? I think there are a lot of the countless things to be grateful for. And once you move, there's a paradigm shift in the way you look at things. So if you're sad, how do you change it? Start becoming thankful for the things you have. Your mood completely changes, right? So I've done neuro-linguistic programming, which is the science of what you do, why you do what you do, which talks about this tuning into your subconscious. I'm a Reiki level 2 practitioner. So which is, again, how do you tap universal energy for your own well-being, right? I'm currently reading 2 books by Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's again into internally how do you make things happen, right? So I think a lot of this helps, and I think every entrepreneur should find his or her way. It doesn't have to be this. It could be, I don't know, a game of badminton, which just puts you back to your base state, and it just makes you happy for you, who you are. And I think that helps you fight the rejections. That helps you, not going into that downward spiral.
Okay. Awesome. So 2 suited, booted entrepreneurs are right here, making me feel totally, whatever I'm feeling. I don't want to talk about that. So Jagat, Jagat, Welcome, my friend. So I want to ask this story. Why are you dressed so formally, Jagat? What's going on? How did this
Just
happen?
to get that reaction from you, we just tag teamed you.
Oh God.
No, but I just saw Anmol with the suit. I said, yeah, it's been ages since we actually dressed up, and because we don't go out anymore, and your polo tee as well. And but yeah, I just decided. Thanks for the inspiration, Anmol.
Thank you, Jagan. Nice to see you. I think, yeah, as you said, it's been long since we wear suits, so I wear it now every time.
And you do online training, right? So you got to look good. You got to look the
Yes,
thing, right? So
I've got to look the part. Otherwise, payment nahi aayega.
Of course, paisa aana chahiye, yaar. Paisa aana chahiye. So so Jagat, how was it there? I think some very interesting stuff that is coming out from Anmol, isn't it? Some really cool insights. So Anmol, if you were to give Jagat, who's on Vidphone, a video platform, he hardly has more than maybe 15-20 competitors, whatever you want to call it. All of them have not too much money except for a few billions to spend and give it away for free. What's he going to do, man?
So the market is still big, right? Even though we've got big players, we got well-funded players, who've raised, as you said, billions of dollars. I think the market is still big, and there are different niches as well, right? So, if, for instance, I was looking at Airmeet today morning, where I was part of the conference. They had a lovely concept. There was something called as backstage, where you could go back, and it was typically built keeping a conference in mind. So Zoom is just a meeting, right? So I love the way they went about things. So I think Vidphone, I mean, it's got I love the way it's presented right now. Very easy to use, very user friendly. I didn't need too much time to adapt to it. So maybe finding out, can we capture a missing part of the whole video conferencing space, right? It's huge. Don't just look at it as just me seeing you face to face, right? Can we capture a blue ocean? I don't know, maybe sports conferencing, sports connecting with people. I don't know what that is, but I don't think we should just keep it limited to probably just meetings like these. So if maybe Jagat can study the space, see some more use cases, he may find something which is very specific, which only Vidphone is into, and you never know.
Interesting.
Let me take that, because obviously we work on this day in and day out, and
right. Yeah, you're a better person there.
to stay on the stand-up comedian side of things, I want to crack a joke now. We were actually thinking of this, and this may be a big opportunity for those who are actually listening to this. We thought of doing something called weddings. Okay, it's called virtual weddings.
There you
it's
go.
a $50 billion market in India. They have a huge problem, but we're not doing that. I just went through a huge identity crisis, and I didn't want to be, I just thought of myself, and people will think this guy Starry is doing weddings in mass in India. I said, I don't want to be remembered as that. I've spent 5 years of my life building video communications, and I'm going to, continue our fight with, the big guys, but just as a joke. But yeah, it's a very good point. What happens beyond video meetings and webinars, right? So that's something that we try and answer. And if somebody looks at our platform, see, it's really about the remote customer. The focus is really that. Even if the vaccine comes in, things are not going to go back to how it was a year ago, right? I mean, that's pretty much established. And when you look at the remote customer, the question is about how do you attract, convert, and retain these customers completely on video, right? And that's the real challenge. So everything from, when Vidphone, when you see, we have a unique ID. So you have an email address, you have a phone number. That's very important for people to connect with you from external communications, outside people, right? Unlike having, let's say, temporary IDs and stuff. So we give you a permanent vidphone.me/Anmol or 5X. That's your permanent video home. And that comes into security. Today, all of them have major security issues. We're just doing it because it's free. And that's very sad. You had the Indian government clearly put out a notification saying, don't use Zoom. Recently, there were sextortion cases against Zoom, right? So I think, yeah, it's good. They're building the market. People are using them because they're free and it's easy to use. But soon, security will be a very big challenge. Plus, the full stack is important. I should come, book a meeting with you, do a webinar, we've introduced something called vMail. So, for example, conferencing has become very fatigued. People have video conferencing fatigue today. People are tired of conferencing two-way this way. I'm sure even if we do it for another hour, we'll be tired. But vMail is something that's different, asynchronous video mail. So innovation is great, but I think, we always need wonderful sales training and, really the art that the US has mastered in terms of, converting that customer into sales. That's, as a company, we definitely focus. Yeah.
Great, Jagat. Lovely insights. More power to you. And I'm sure this is going to grow into something bigger. It should become synonymous with video conferencing, something that people have to use. Video conferencing bolo to vid phone.
That's a
Nice one, nice one.
We don't use that one.
Okay. So,
Wonderful. And I love the stand-up comedy as well, Anmol. I'd leave it to you, gentlemen. Unless
Thank you.
Vijetha has something else to ask me.
yeah, so this is okay. So I'll ask both of you guys can take this as a conversation piece.
Sure.
You all also see, for example, Jagat also sells to founders and startups and entrepreneurs. I know because SMEs and all over the country and all over maybe outside of India as well. And even for you, right, Anmol? So you also you're not looking at the large corporates, but you're trying to you are tapping the SMEs, the business owner, 5 people, 10 people, but who need to do a lot of sales, and you do all this remotely. He also has to sell like a SaaS product almost, correct? So what are the founders saying these days? What are the challenges that you see that they are facing, which you guys can kind of maybe even come together, and maybe all of you will come together, because this is something that I really care about, right? Innovation cluster. Okay, how can we as a country, with academia, with students, with entrepreneurs, with support from technology and support from the investment communities and HNIs, whatever it is, how can these kind of cultures and ecosystems be built? What are your
Sure.
takes on that?
This is a very tough question, so I'll let Jagat answer first.
Yeah, and then you take some notes and then quickly, make it sound even better.
Yeah, I'll just echo the same thing. Little more masala. I'm like, kya bola yaar ye?
The 80-20.
I generally tell it, you're just on the platform, go first, but this time you put it back on me. So that's a great question. I think what happens around clusters, like when you look at Valley, I believe that around Stanford University is where everything started. And that has a huge role because, once the students are doing research over there, then you have high-level technology being built. Then at the same time, they go out, they get into, these startup companies where they're again building R&D. Now again, they have a lot of R&D focus. It's always been about research. So technology and research, universities, academia, they kind of go hand in hand, more than other sectors, I would say, right? And even in Bangalore, I would say no matter how much people say about, trying to take startup cities in, say tier 2, tier 3, but bottom line is, Bangalore is the home, and this is where most of it happened. Of course, it moved out Delhi, Gurgaon, we have other pockets that's happening. So it's natural, but I think now this pandemic is a huge change, right? The location does not matter. My next road becomes same as, US. So we should see how it pans out. Maybe this will be the democratization of technology, as they call it, and how, the kind of knowledge that Anmol, etc., when they're delivering specialized sales training, even like Subbu, for example, other people who are giving specialized trainings, they now have the worldwide audience, right? It's no more limited. They're not now competing with larger companies just like us. And it's all really it's about the value, right? People see it, and it doesn't matter whether you have like billions of dollars backing you or not. Can you do the job for us? And I think that way it's working out properly.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point which Jagat mentioned. In fact, if you look at our ecosystem, we're still in the infancy stage, right? It's just been like 1 decade of entrepreneurship. If you look at like Flipkart as the starting point of the entrepreneurship scenario, entrepreneurs have been there though. Entrepreneurs have been there for long, but the entrepreneurship ecosystem we're still just about 10 years old. So that's when we see a startup fail, we're like, oh my god, billions of dollars went into it. But that's happening in Silicon Valley every alternate day because they've been around for 4-5 decades, so they've matured. There's social learning angle to it, which they've become masters at. So I think we are moving in the right direction. In fact, there is that ecosystem here which is slowly being established, people helping each other, delivering trainings, founders coming together from a particular sector, sharing notes, learning from each other's mistakes. So I do see that happening. And as Jagat was mentioning, which is like now it's flat, right? There's no more a Bangalore meetup, right? There's no like Bangalore specific. I can just hop on and I'm there. I can connect with anyone I want, right? So I think it's now, there was always that I think Friedman, if I'm not wrong, who wrote The World is Flat, right?
Yeah,
Thomas Friedman.
Yeah, World is
Thomas
flat,
Friedman, long time back. I think this is the second wave of The World is Flatter. I just came up with that, but
patented immediately, Anmol.
I think
Flattened everybody.
Yeah, 100%.
The world is flat, or it's flattened everybody.
Yeah. So how do you look at it? The world is flatter or are you flattened? इसको copyright बना देते हैं सर, एक book निकाल देते हैं, bestseller book, bestseller डालने का book के ऊपर, only then it will sell. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
All right, I'll leave it to you gentlemen right now. I think it's all about that. Please carry on that. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Anmol,
thanks,
thanks a
Jagat.
lot.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Thanks so
Jagat,
much
for joining in. Cheers, man.
yeah. Thank you,
Cheers.
Jagat.
Bye, Vijay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jagat. So Anmol, it is 6:21. So we have
Yup.
precisely 8 to 9 minutes. I don't want to, go beyond that. Now I want
Sure.
you to talk about, like, okay, as a founder, you're doing so many things: sales calls, you're doing follow-up calls, you have to prepare your training, you have to update yourself. What are the productivity tools that you use? How do you make sure that, with all these balls in the air, nothing slips out? How do you make sure that everything is very coordinated and properly organized as a
Sure.
founder?
I think Evernote is still evergreen,
Okay, all
right?
right, awesome.
Something as simple. If you're not using Evernote, then at least have a to-do list on your WhatsApp that you're WhatsApping yourself or your partner, right?
Okay.
And again goes back to Brian Tracy, eat the frog in the morning, right?
Yeah,
So do the
nice,
most
nice,
difficult
nice
thing
one.
in the start, right? That is something I really believe in, and so take those hard tasks which are very difficult, which are like occupying 80% of your mind space.
Mm.
Strange, I always bring that 80-20 in,
Okay.
but that's how it is. Excuse me for that, Vijetha. So 80% of your attention is
No,
by that
no
one
problem, no
task.
problem. Mm.
Yeah, so 80% of your
Okay,
mind space is being consumed by that one difficult task, and if you keep postponing it, you're never going to get that happiness. So take it in the morning, finish it. You will see that you automatically become a lot more productive. That's one. Another
right,
hack which I recently learned is just switch off your WhatsApp.
all right.
Right, I think it's very productive. The quality of my writing goes up just by turning off the data on my phone. Right,
All
if
right.
you've read the book Habits, when you hear that ting sound, that WhatsApp ping sound, you know that there's that cue that comes in, and then there's a reward, a variable reward. Who's messaging me? Is it an important message? Let me check. That breaks your flow.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
Right, so just
yeah.
two hacks.
So you have, yeah, I love that one that you talked about, "Eat That Frog" by Brian Tracy. In
Yeah.
fact, the concepts are amazing. My one of my very close friends, one of my he's actually given me that book, and he said, you keep reading it. It's not just that you just keep it there and you look at it and said it's a concept. You keep reading it. Because every chapter, it actually gives
Right.
you how you build that habit. It's not just about knowing that this is a habit to have. How do you build that muscle memory? How do you adhere to that principle? Beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Anmol. And also Evernote. Okay, I got that. You have a to-do list. Try to get this, especially the social media distractions. You should avoid it as much as possible, because that can
Right.
really. And very interesting that you're saying is, my friend, you put your videos out on YouTube, and then you want us to watch it all the time, isn't it? You want lots and lots of views. Very paradoxical. But
No, so
now let me hear you talk. Now, yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening.
I'm trying to justify it. I know it's going to sound like justify.
Uh,
So that's your stress buster time, right? So you've got to have that
oh,
hour. You've got to
ah,
have that hour where
awesome,
you are
awesome.
like, I'm just going to be myself. So that's when you can watch the videos, a quick 5-7 minute video, and then do your own stuff. So
You got the answer right, man. 100%. No 80-20. 100%. You got it right. But good one. You need a stress buster also, isn't it? You
absolutely.
need. Also, Anmol, see, one of the things that why you are successful is that your co-founder and you have this relationship of trust, hard work. You all have division of labor, everything, right? So how do you make sure that you stay on the positive path? How do you make sure that you're not getting distracted by lots of nonsense and other pressures also?
Sure. I think it's
How do
very
you do
important to work on your business and not in your business.
that? Hmm?
Right, so when I
Okay,
say in
okay,
your
interesting.
business, you shouldn't be doing everything, right? And then
Okay,
these are again some of the mistakes I've done with my startups, right?
all right.
On your businesses, hey, I need digital marketing, let me get an expert who's going to do this for me.
Okay,
Right, very very important. Otherwise you're always going to be a small team. You're always going to be someone who's not going to scale up. It's always going to be dependent on you, and if you're not there, you're sick, you're on a vacation, work doesn't happen.
okay.
Right, so I'm blessed to have an amazing co-founder. He's in fact my mentor, a guide as well. He's been in sales for the last 25 years, amazing
Wow,
knowledge.
wow,
Have
wow.
a great working rapport with him. I've known him for 5-6 years, so fairly comfortable before we came in to start Sales5X. So yeah, I think blessed that way. And it's very important to have your goal set. So you spoke about how to not get distracted by the noise, right?
Hmm,
So if I have a goal set, I know my ass is on the fire.
hmm.
Sorry for the lack of a better word, but I think that's what conveys the meaning the most.
Yeah,
Right, I know I need to close this revenue. I know I need to close these clients. So anything that pops up in between, which is glamorous, but end of the day, it's noise. You have to say no to it because you're chasing that target.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So it's 6:26. So we're going to close in the next 3 to 4 minutes.
Sure.
Your thoughts on this, correct, Anmol? You're a salesperson. You have to keep building your flywheel, your sales funnels, etc., etc. You need to get referrals. You need to have affiliation marketing. You have to have referral marketing, but at the same time, you got to do cold calling, and you got to also deliver. So there are
Right.
5, 6 balls that you have to be focusing on.
Right.
So what works best for you? And if you have to give a quick input to the founders out here, how should they be building that sales funnel all the time?
Sure. So again, interesting question, but quite a detailed one. So let me try to be as concise as possible. Figure out what are your marketing channels first. I see a lot of business owners not knowing where their leads are going to come from. It's just word of mouth marketing, which is not enough in today's world. So build your channels. One could be organic, where you're pushing out your social media posts. So that's for us, LinkedIn is organic. I post stuff on LinkedIn. We get a lot of leads from there. We do a lot of ads on Facebook, which is our inorganic, where we typically B2C approach, where we invite you to a webinar, talk about, add value, talk about what we do, and actually sell to you, right? So that is the second. So build a system around it. Just don't be like, hey, today we have a lead, I'll try to close. Let me see what can be done. So build a proper funnel. So if I'm talking about, as I said, we're looking at Facebook marketing, we have ads, move to the landing page. After the landing page, there is a campaign to bring you to the webinar. At the webinar, we make sure we add massive value. Then we sell to you. If you buy, you then move to our training. If you don't buy, we nurture you. We have a separate email list, which we're nurturing you, constantly adding value, so that the next time you think about getting some training, you come back to us. So if you have not set these systems in place, what I just said is typically 1 year of work to set everything up. Right. And so once you set it, you will see the system working, right, which is eventually going to bring you results. Right. So I think my advice to everyone would be, do you have a sales system? Do you have a pipeline which is always full? Do you have a system where a good conversion is happening from that pipeline? Do you have a system where your product or services are being delivered in the right way? Do you have a system where you can go back, ask for referrals, upsells, and all of that? So if you build that sales system, and in fact, that's the consulting work that we do with a lot of organizations. If you build that.
So very beautifully, I led you to this. You should thank me for it later. I'm allowed you to pitch your consultancy, my friend.
Absolutely.
Amazing, isn't it, how you managed? But thank you. It was beautifully done. 6:29. So I want it to be closed in the next 1 minute, because that's what you have asked for, unless you have a couple of extra minutes. Now it is opened up. Okay, what would you like to say to the audience, my friend? You're on Facebook Live, you're on YouTube Live. This is
wow.
The Vidphone team is going to push it out on Vidphone TV, everything. The floor is yours. Go for it.
Be happy. I think that's something that I want to share with everyone. I think often
100%, not 80%.
No. I'm going to give that to you. It's 100%, right? I think this whole pandemic has made all of us humble, right? I think it's just relax. Things will happen, okay? And I see a lot of panic. A lot of people like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Just let go. Sometimes it's good to just let go. Right, sometimes, right, and just go with the flow. The festive season is ahead of us. Relax, keep smiling, smile the way Vijetha does, a big wide smile whenever I see him. Doesn't even have to say hi, the smile conveys it all. So I think end of the day, that's what counts. So just be happy.
Awesome.
You don't need a reason to be happy, by the way.
I know, man. Yeah, exactly. You got to, and if you don't know how to be happy, build that ability. It's important.
I was going to say, come and attend my stand-up show.
Yeah, attend.
That's a
watch
sales
it on
pitch.
YouTube or whatever else you want to do, right?
So I have an open mic at 7 p.m. I have an open mic. That's why I have to, rush. So if you are in Bangalore, HSR, come over. This is happening at.
You're doing it at HSR. Where?
Yeah,
Where?
Kappa HSR, opposite to NIFT.
Okay.
So.
All right. Hey, man, listen. So we should not hold you back. You should not be late. Okay. This was a very, very enjoyable and great learning for me also. Thank you so much, Anmol, for taking this time out. And you were episode number 27. So if you believe in numbers, 2 + 7 is 9, and 9 is considered to be an awesome number. But what matters is that they should watch your stand-up comedy shows, man. That's it. Nothing else is more important.
Thank you so much, Vijetha, for the invite. You've been a perfectionist. I think the time that you brought up, brilliant. Thank you so much for that. Always a pleasure interacting with you. Hats off to Jagat and team Vidphone for putting all of this together. More power to you guys. I think this is what founders need to hear, and from different co-founders, and I think we all can grow by sharing.
So, one of the other things that we do, Anmol, is we do something called a Startup Sunday, where it's an informal boardroom where we call, and we'll invite you one of these days also, okay? And if you
Done.
want to recommend anyone else also, you can do that, so that, people talk about their challenges, their insights, and we try to help each other out, okay? So, at TiE
Perfect.
Bangalore, it's all about that. We want to mentor, bring entrepreneurs together, help them with whatever they can. And the ecosystem should grow to very, very well, Anmol. And, let's bring people together, man. That's what you're good at. That's what it really matters. 6:31. Thank you, Anmol, my friend. God bless
Cheers,
you.
buddy. Cheers, buddy.
I'm a big fan of whatever you do at the stand-up comedy. And at the same time, now I've been going through some of your webinars, your links, your stuff. I think I'll research more, and I want to learn more from you also. Okay.
Thank you so much, Vijetha. Hoping to catch up with you soon offline. Thanks. Cheers,
Yes,
guys.
sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.